The following episode is brought to you by Benro. Products designed and built to meet or exceed the needs and demands of professional photographers and filmmakers worldwide. Find out more at benrousa.com. You're listening to Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon. Hey, what's up, World Wide Web? It's Brandon.
Hey, it's Michael.
And we're filmmakers. And we're drinking all sorts of stuff today. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So I've got a hot coffee. You've got yourself some energy water. It looks like an energy water situation you got there.
It's a perfectly isotonic energy drink made here in Cincinnati, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome, man. So we're not drinking bourbon today. Actually, you're not even drinking.
I'm not drinking at all. Nothing.
To which last time you were here, you shared a bourbon with us, and you had this great sort of, you're a comedian. So if you didn't catch the prior episode with Michael, so you had this great, really funny bit on drinking and cutting back, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. So what's happened since then? Get us up to speed.
Yeah, I was kind of the previous bit was about how much wine I drank. And I used to buy wine at Walgreens a lot, and that kind of stuff. And my doctor had kind of been on me for a while, and finally had that blood test where I think he said something about liver enzymes. I'm like, all right, I'm out. So yeah.
So the enzymes were
the liver. Yeah, that's one of those things you want to keep.
So in general, you would rather keep your liver.
I'd rather keep my liver. Yeah, I can always get a kidney from a friend
or the black market.
Yeah, but liver's just the one.
Yeah, it's a deal.
Yeah, so I just I was like, I'm done. I was ready. It was just sort of like, you know, when you're a heavy drinker, it's not right.
Sure,
it's unhealthy, and so yeah. So,
well, you look great, man. Have you lost some weight?
I lost some weight. I've been working out, lifting some weight. Well, not really lifting weights. I do the machines.
Sure, yeah.
When I work out, I like to have a comfortable seat, but. I don't like people. I don't like talking to people in the gym. The whole, when you spot me, I'm like, no, I'm not. But so it was way easier than it should have been.
Okay.
I feel like, nothing against all the whatever 12-step programs and everything, but I just quit, and it's weird too, because I used to drink at home alone, and now I hang out almost exclusively in bars, and it's nothing. It doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
So it's like I said, I don't.
It's different for everybody.
It's different for everybody, and it's just fun. I like to joke about it.
So in addition to that, last time when we were catching up, I think you were unemployed.
I was unemployed.
You were freelancing. You were flirting with shooting stock photography with dissolved stock footage. There was a lot going on in your life. Get us up to speed. What's happened since then? What's going on with you?
Yeah, a lot of it's still going on. So I got laid off in February. I like to say semi-retired. That way, I intend to go back full time. So that it'll be really cool, like Brett Favre coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
So I'm semi-retired now. I'm freelancing, and that's kept me way busier than I thought.
Okay, cool.
And the first month of freelancing was kind of an adjustment for somebody that's typically worked a day job. And so for a while, I couldn't really get into the rhythm. And then once I did, I kind of liked it. I was like, I get up really early in the morning and work really hard till about 1, and then go to the pool, take a long nap, and then the other thing is that after I quit drinking, I was like, God, I felt like my energy is through the roof.
Yeah, so you're jamming.
I'm just jamming all the time, and I started shooting stock video back in the spring and submitted I've got almost 500 clips on Dissolve, and then I finally got my first royalty check.
That's awesome, man. Isn't that cool?
That was a very, very cool feeling.
Because I think there's still this misnomer out there where people think that actually getting paid from stock is not a real thing. You upload and then you're never really going to get money. But it does. It pans out. If you do the work and you really keep at it, it can generate income.
It's funny too, because the clips that sold, I spent a lot of time. I went through all my archives and sent them all that. Dissolve's awesome. You just send them.
Yeah, they have a great program for that.
I'm in the Liftoff program. It's super, they're very supportive and encouraging, and sent all that stuff to them. And then I started shooting. You know, I shoot a lot of food, even freelancing, and I like macro food. So I started shooting a bunch of that, like bowls of rice and beans and all that kind of stuff. Really proud of all that stuff. None of that. No one's even looked at those clips. It's like all the old stuff that I had is the stuff that people
cliche type stuff.
And the stuff, the clips that the first clips that sold are. Some things I shot in an old record shop of just hands flipping through old CDs.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
And it's
cool hipster stuff.
I would love to know what it's being used for, though. Yeah. That's the one thing. I don't know if there's a way to find out. If Char's listening right now, I'd like to know if is it in like a cool little a short movie, or is it? I don't know. So
that is interesting that you said that, because I've had that thought as well. As some of these people who've shot an enormous amount in their stock libraries, like, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
they're like a virus. It's like they've touched a little piece of everything. So very interesting. And imagine all the different. And you got to think, when you upload that, like, you're also giving up sort of control. I mean, you could be being used in some corporation that you despise.
Yeah.
It could be used by a politician you don't agree with. It's you upload it. It's there for the masses. It's stock.
It is, yeah, and that was kind of a interesting, especially too. Like, after I get through all my archives, I start shooting stock.
Yeah.
The weird thing, the hardest thing about it was, what am I going to shoot? Like, you sit there and you're like, okay, today I'm going to shoot some stock, and you're like, oh my god, what am I going to shoot?
Yeah, where do you start? So is that something, like, have you worked that into your routine? Is that something you're continually doing, or is it tapered down? Or
it tapered down a little bit because I got so busy with freelance.
Yeah, I know. I had a couple people I sent your way.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of them ever panned out, but
a little bit, but definitely once I got busy with freelance, then I also started to get back into more creative directions. I'm actually doing the freelancing I'm doing is tapping into my entire career now. So it's creative, it's writing, it's design, digital. I've designed some websites.
Let me for the listeners who are on the bubble. How long did it take when you kind of told the world, "Hey, I'm freelancing now"? Was there a ramp up period? How long did it take before you started kind of getting calls and leads and sort of that sort of thing?
It was like 8 hours.
Really?
It was a weird thing. So, like, I got laid off on a Thursday, and I went home. And the next morning, I called a guy that I used to work with, who owns an agency downtown Cincinnati, and I said, "Yeah, I got laid off last night, but what's going on?" He's like, "Well, where are you?" And I was like, "I'm fine. I mean, I'll do some free." He goes, "No, like, where are you right now?" He's like, "Can you come downtown?" So I went downtown, and he gave me an assignment right away, and it had been about 6 years since we worked together, so it was like, hey, we need to get to know each other a little bit. We didn't end on bad terms, but anytime you've gone through kind of a breakup, it's like, or even a friend that you lost touch with, it takes you a little while to get used to each other again. You got to ramp up, and it's just been like, full on since then. Man. So
that's awesome. Now, in addition to the work in advertising and film and that sort of deal, are you still? I think you've amped up on your comedy as well, right?
Yeah.
You've got a big gig coming up, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I just had one this past week. I just hosted my first weekend at Go Bananas in Montgomery, and that was a big one. There's stages, sort of career steps in comedy, and there's not that many. They're kind of like belts in karate. You go from amateur, / open micer to host, and then features, the middle guy, and then headliner, and that's pretty much it.
Sure.
So, getting to host, especially at a place like Go Bananas, is really, it's like Louis C.K. has mentioned it before, is one of his favorite clubs. It's one of the top clubs in the country.
Huh.
And so that was a big deal. 6 shows.
So what's hosting? That's just setting up each guy, being the segue, filling the dead air?
You go up first and do 10 to 12 minutes of your own material.
Okay.
And then you run through a couple announcements, where the fire exits are and everything like that. And then you introduce the feature act. He does 20, 25. And then you get back up and introduce the headliner, does 45 to an hour. Then you come back up once more at the end and thank everybody for coming. And
that's awesome.
That's it. So it's
that's a lot of FaceTime.
It's a lot of FaceTime. 6 shows in one weekend.
Wow,
is a lot. And the thing, I think the hardest thing for me was when you're used to we sort of train in like 5-minute increments, 5-minute sets.
Sure.
They call it a late show set. And you're used to doing that 5 minutes, getting the lights at 4. You've got a minute to wrap up, and then that's my time, and you get off stage. So to do a 10 to 12 minute set, which I had enough material, but you're not used to doing that much at one time, and then you're done, but you have to stay up there and introduce somebody else and run. So that those extra couple things that you're going to have to do at the end of that set that you've really not done that much in that. So it's enough to kind of throw you off a little bit. So it isn't until later in the weekend.
So you can't just walk in and wing it. You got to come prepared. You got to say, okay,
you come prepared
mentally. Okay, here's where. Okay, I know this is going to happen. That sort of thing.
Yeah, and I hang out there all the time. I mean, I go to shows every weekend there and watch other people do it. So you think you're ready, but still, you get up there and it's a lot.
Now you've got there's a benefit coming up, right?
Yeah, I got a benefit this Tuesday.
Right.
This coming Tuesday.
August
9th.
Yeah, because I think me and Alex are going to come.
That's awesome.
I know I'm coming for sure. I texted him before and I was like, hey, let's plan this ahead of time. Make sure the wives got the the kids and the animals and all that stuff.
That's going to be.
So I think we're coming.
That's going to be. I'm going to be hosting that.
Yes.
So basically, you're going to see what I did last weekend, and then we got 6 of the top comedians in Cincinnati. A couple are pros, and then we also have a surprise kind of guest. Surprise guy. His name's Sammy Obed. He's from L.A. and he's just passing through.
And it was
a lot of comedians. Yeah, a lot of comedians when they pass through a town, they're like, "Hey, anything going on this night?" He's been on Conan, so I mean, he's awesome. So he's going to do a guest set right up top. So
that's
it's going to be an
awesome,
awesome show. Yeah,
that's great. Well, that's exciting to hear. It looks like things are really jamming for you. Things are going well. What else is going on in your life? You got any love interest? Anything happening?
No. That's it's just I turned 48 this summer, and I've never been married, and I'm still single, and it's just like. It's just a red flag for women. Seriously, if you've never been married, it's like they assume you're either gay or you're a psychopath. Like those are the two. Those are the only two choices. I don't know why. It's like so.
Speaking of psychopaths, on the way over to the studio, I had an Uber. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I had an Uber driver that didn't talk. And that, it alarms me. Like, I feel like there's a certain things, that happen. You get into a cab or whatever. A cab, I'm used to a cab, maybe not saying anything,
Yeah.
But an Uber, it's like a different experience. It's usually a friendly greeting, that sort of thing. Hey, how's it going? How's your day? Nothing. And I was a little worried that I might not have made it to this taping because, speaking of sociopath, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? With a driver of any sort, do you talk? Do you not talk? What are your rules for engagement that you?
I don't.
At what point do you start freaking out? Like, oh crap, this guy's gonna eat me.
Yeah, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I've never taken an Uber, and I've taken cabs before, but I'm generally. I'm the problem in that scenario because I'm not I really don't. I'm very uncomfortable in elevators with people and in closed spaces, so I'm not creating a lot of conversation at all. And then if he starts one, I'm like very unresponsive. So I was at a barbecue place just about a month ago, and I ordered carry-out barbecue, and the woman behind the register, I don't know how. I mean, I paid by credit card, so obviously that's how it should happen. She just gave me the credit card back, and she's like, "So you prefer Mike or Michael?" And it just struck me. I'm like, why are you? I prefer not answering your question right now.
You're like, why do you care?
Why are you asking me that? It's like, there's a reason you're wearing a name tag and I'm not. It's not so we can get to know each other better. I was like, as far as I'm concerned, I just gave you my preferences, and this conversation ended with like coleslaw on the side. It was just weird. I wasn't ready for it. So I don't do well at all in this situation.
Well, and it's an unfair advantage when someone else has a name tag, right? Because it's like their name, of course.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like I sometimes if you're on a big set, it's sometimes hard, especially as director. Everyone knows the director, but you might have 20 people on set. Like, it's almost impossible to always, especially if new faces. So you always feel horrible. You're like, oh, what was your name again? Or hey you, and the regular guys, you know their names and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of that sort of thing when the name tag's kind of an unfair advantage. It's kind of like I have something over you, or you have something over me. It's this sort of uneven playing field.
So I don't. As far as Uber, I've never taken one, so I don't really know what it's like. But is the idea that versus a cab, is it supposed to be more friendly? Is it supposed to be like
Uber's great.
A guy just giving you like a friend giving you a ride? Or?
It's about the ease of it's about the ease of being able to tell the driver to pick you up exactly where you want to be instead of having to look and wave down a cab.
Yeah.
But in general, I feel like the sort of the unwritten social rules is that Uber's a little friendlier. It's like your buddy down the street, or your best friend versus the cab driver. Well, you don't know him. He's a cab driver. Right. He's just getting paid to drive no matter what.
I can't wait till Ubers have. You know how Tesla has that auto drive
car? Which killed somebody.
Oh yeah, well, let's talk about that in a second. I got a funny story about that. But so I just can't wait till Uber drivers start using Teslas with the auto drive. Like, does he show up and he's in the back seat working on his college paper, and you sitting? How weird would that be? He's like, no, you're fine.
No, you're good. It's fine. There's only been several fatalities because of this system. No big deal.
Yeah, that guy, that was crazy. The guy was watching there's so many. It's not funny, but it is a little bit. He was watching Harry Potter. That's to me one of the funniest parts about it. He was watching Harry Potter on DVD.
Right.
Which, if you're going to watch a movie about magic and sword, what a great movie to watch!
Not bad.
While the car's driving itself.
Yeah, the new book's out too.
Yeah.
My daughter's obsessed. So yeah, he's watching a flick that's not bad.
Yeah, and then it went underneath a truck, and then just took the top of the turn it into a convertible. But the car, I guess, kept driving for about another quarter mile for the car finally figured out kind of what was going on. I was just like, how great would that be if the car just drove all the way home? Can you imagine his wife's in there like, kids, I think your dad just pulled up. Time for dinner. And it's
and watching Harry Potter, he felt he went through some porthole at the train station.
Oh my gosh!
Entered a new realm.
Yeah. It's funny. It's not funny though. But I got a buddy that is a manager up at the Tesla dealership, and he took me for a drive, and he's like, "It is weird.
Yeah.
It is really, really weird." And because I was in the passenger seat, and he's like, "Look, no hands," and I just kept wanting to reach over, going, "This cannot be safe." But he's like, Tesla's like, you have to pay attention 10% of the time.
Sure.
But you don't know when that 10%. You have to actively do something 10% of the time. But the other 90% of the time, you're supposed to be paying attention to be ready for that 10%.
And isn't that kind of
that's driving? That's driving.
Exactly.
There's no auto drive about it. That's driving.
Yeah.
So,
but just because cruise control eliminated the slight pressure of the foot.
Exactly.
Which was nice. What else do you need to eliminate?
Yeah, the whole thing is freaky.
That's crazy. Speaking of films, you mentioned the Harry Potter and that incident. What have you been watching? What have you been up to, man? What have you been taking in? Or have you been too busy?
I've been too busy, and I get really hung up on archival stuff on YouTube. I'm either watching old videos of comedy, or I love just interviews. I love all that kind of stuff, and so I have such a short attention span. So for me, movies have always been. That's why I said short documentaries. Love.
Right.
Feature length.
It's hard to get there.
It's so hard. Yeah.
So how far down the YouTube rabbit hole will you go? You know what I mean? Because
shockingly,
it gets
pretty weird.
And the spin-offs become they can be random, or they can be really tied in, or you start out watching something about farming, and then next thing you know, 2 hours later, you're watching God knows what.
Yeah. Oh, I'll follow it. I'll follow it all the way, pretty much. It's great. I don't have it. I don't have an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I'll get one the second they come out with a feature that when your heart rate drops to 0, it deletes your entire internet history. I don't mean just your browser. I live alone and I delete my browser history every day. But I mean everything you've ever Googled, because that stuff is scary. That stuff is permanent. It's just it knows.
The internet knows. It knows what you want to buy, what you want to do, who you the whole deal.
And I think the
So are you paranoid about this? It seems I'm getting a sense that you're a little worried about it.
No, I do. I joke about it on stage. I mean, the whole thing is when you combine my age and my marital status with the weird stuff that look at, like I Googled, so I don't know if you heard of that. So IKEA, about a couple weeks ago, IKEA recalled one of their bedroom dressers because
yes, I got it. I have that
the
one.
mom, I have it, but it kept tipping over and
because some little kid was climbing on it.
Yeah, well, this is a deal.
My wife freaked out.
It crushed it as 6 kids, right? Which is terrible. But if you read farther, 6 kids since 1989. And my first reaction was, that seems like a reasonable amount of kids. like really? You're going to So I Googled common child deaths just because I was curious to see how many children die a year of this. And I'm like, God, this is like, they know now. Yeah. You know, it's like so close to Google. Like I picture people in a room, like a team of people that are doing the, you know, trying to figure out what to recommend next. And they're like, does he mean like how to make a child's death look like an accident? It's just weird. It was like, I don't know how I'm not on a watch list. I mean, funny, really.
Man. That's crazy.
And there's no way to find out if you're on a watch list. Because if there was like a website that you could go to, you would be on a watch list. Like if you weren't already on it, they'd put you, like if you Google yourself, you've got something to hide. And that's the way that works. It's like checking your credit. So if you check your credit score, it sucks.
Yes.
I guarantee you it sucks.
So a lot of what you're talking about is bringing up for me what happens in Mr. Robot. Have you seen Mr. Robot? Mm-mm. So Mr. Robot is this sort of what do you call it? Anonymous style hackers world. Basically, there's this kid, and he played by Rami Malek, and he aims to hack and take down all the banks of the world.
Okay.
Basically erasing everyone's debt. So this whole TV series, which is great, it's on USA, is this total paranoia trip. And you're just like, what is going on? Who's watching who? Is this watching me? So it's rubbed off on me. So the reason I wanted to talk about this paranoia, I had a weird incident the other day at a grocery store, and it freaked me out. So the wife said we need to pick up some garlic. I got my 13-year-old daughter. We go to the grocery store. I'm checking out. We got the garlic and a couple other fruit items from the produce section. And in walks this guy. He has a hat on. And if you're listening, guy out there, if you're listening, if you're watching me, if you're following me, I'd love to meet you. I don't know what it is you want from me.
It's like a Craigslist misconnection.
But this guy kind of walks in, and he's giving me the eye, air quotes, the eye, giving me the eye. Not the stink eye, but sort of the stare down eye. And I kind of disregarded it at first, and then I went, did he just give me the eye? And then I look up, and he's still giving me the eye while walking. So as he's walking,
if he's walking and looking,
as he's walking, he keeps turning his head to have his eyes on me, and I'm like, what is happening? Of course, I've been watching Mr. Robot, so I'm paranoid. I feel like the whole world's watching me and that they're trying to take me down. And I'm like, what is going on? So immediately, sort of my instincts kick in. My child's standing next to me, so I start thinking through all the Jason Bourne scenarios. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, okay, if this happens, I'm going to react this way. I'm going to utilize my elbows. They hit the hardest. I can duck and cover here. I'm looking at exits. I'm looking at how I can use whatever's in front of me as a weapon. Like I got this whole scenario that like is flashing before my eyes, and so he kind of goes out of my periphery, and then he's gone. And I'm like, where is he? So I'm paying. We're checking out, and I see him in a further back aisle, and he's walking, but he wasn't looking at me. So I was like, okay, I'm just paranoid. Too much Mr. Robot. This is crazy. So we go outside, we're pushing the cart, and sure enough, curiously, he comes out after we do. And I'm like, I got my keys, I open the automatic trunk.
So now he's following you.
Well, it feels like it. I get the stuff in, the daughter's in. Of course, I'm trying not to lose my cool because I've got my daughter. I don't want her to freak out. And I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. So I back up, and I pull up to turn onto the main road. Sure enough, he's pulling out like he's tracking me. And I'm like, what in the world? So finally I turn, and I was going to take the back roads to my house so that I had plenty of ways to not go to my house and, kind of take him on a wild goose chase. And he pulls up kind of behind me, and then he gets over in the other lane and then goes his own way. It was either a highly unlikely sort of coincidence, which I'm sure it was, but it felt like everything lined up. I got the stare down. I felt like I was being followed, and it freaked me out. That whole night, I had crazy dreams.
Yeah.
And I had sleep paralysis, which is crazy. Anyway.
I think that whole, a lot of this stuff, I do a bit how I have, I bought a hatchet at Home Depot, and it was the only thing I bought. And how it's just weird walking around with a hatchet. But like that started with me thinking like, God, everyone probably thinks I'm a like psycho murderer. And then I'm like, there's like nobody thinks that.
Yeah, no,
like I'm the one I'm the
right.
only one I'm projecting that on other people.
Yes,
and that's I think when you start doing that, like I don't know if I talked about it last time. I have okay, talking about paranoia. Like I'm paranoid of being falsely accused of shoplifting. Like I've never shoplifted before in my life, but if I go in like a Target or like a Best Buy is the worst. They have like TSA at the door going out. Yeah. If I walk around in there, like I convince myself that they're convinced that I'm about to shoplift. And what it does, it just makes you look way more suspicious.
Yeah, because you change your behavior.
So now they probably are watching me, and it just feeds into this thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for trying to control that a little bit. But
the thing that I thought was crazy about that is I
wonder what it was.
I don't know, but
did he just think you? Did he recognize you, or
I don't know, or maybe he felt like I was giving him the stare, and so he was looking back.
Who started it?
Who started the stare? Maybe I did. Maybe I was checking out, and he walked in. I kind of looked at him, and then maybe he thought I was looking too long, and then so all of a sudden he was thinking, is he giving me the stare?
He was gonna break. Yeah.
And then is he eyeing me down? And then all of a sudden he like was I don't know. It was weird, man. But it begs the question of the the age old sort of thing of does art reflect life? Does life reflect art?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself when you're watching content that it's affecting you in the real life, even though it's in this box on a screen? Because for me, that totally was it. Like I experienced that, no doubt, because we had just finished Bloodline, which is crazy. It's all about murder and this family and all this stuff, and then Mr. Robot. So like my brain was overloaded with this sort of like spinning world of deceit and doubt and paranoia.
I don't think it really affects me that much because I just assume that stuff's going on. It's like I don't. I've known somebody that is like a huge conspiracy theorist, and she lives out in Washington D.C. What perfect place to live, right?
Yeah.
But she's still to this day is convinced that planes hit the two towers, and a plane crashed in Pennsylvania, but it wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon; it was a guided missile. I'm like, how can you I don't understand that at all. That logic.
They recovered the plane, right?
Yeah, or pieces of it, but still though, like why do you believe that 3 out of the 4 were planes, but this fourth one, and
if somebody was launching a missile, why wouldn't they just launch 4 missiles?
Exactly. Yeah, I just couldn't figure out the logic. I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, but I don't really buy into the whole, things about like whether or not we landed on the moon. Like honestly, I really don't care. I mean, I assume we did, but if it turned out we didn't, I'd probably be like, how can I turn that into a joke?
Yeah.
You're constantly, so I live in this world where it's like, horrific things happen.
Sure.
And I'm like, how could I, there's got to be something funny about that.
You got to find the silver lining. One of the things that, one of the most funny tragedies that I've seen was the Harambe memes.
Mm.
They're dark, but what is it about a dead animal that is just... It's just kind of funny. Like there's this scenarios where you put Harambe, with angel wings in the clouds, and what's not to love about that?
So I had I don't want to see that party game, marry, kill, the third one. So I there's something funny about that game to me, because it's like. You when you play a party, or Would You Rather is another.
Sure.
When you play that party game with somebody, I'm gonna make up stuff for you to choose, right? So it's weird from the beginning because my sick mind is trying to think up really gross or horrific things,
or uncomfortable, whatever's gonna make you uncomfortable,
and then you have to, and then But so like, and when people play like marry, F, kill, Hitler's like always one of the 3 for some reason, and I always think it's funny like to try to, and so everyone kills Hitler, right? You have to, but I just say it's like is there a way to play that game so that somebody has sex with Hitler and then instead of killing him, like who would the other 2 characters be? How awful or ugly would they have to be that like your only remaining choice would, but we did it with her. I did it with Harambe, and so my three choices were Harambe, Jane Goodall, the famous conservationist, or the little boy that fell in the moat. It's because like if you're especially, and then I want to play it with the guy that shot Harambe. Because, as a zoologist, like Jane Goodall is probably he probably has a poster of her in his locker at work, so he's going to marry her. But then you've got a really tough choice left, It's like, do you kill the gorilla a second time, or so that's how my mind works. I mean, it's just like you can't. It's just disgusting. It was just constantly like how can you? I was watching the Iron Man triathlon.
Yeah.
So like
not the film.
No, not the film. Yeah, but this I'm going to rate this to film.
Yeah.
So the Ironman I was watching last weekend the World Championship in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So it's a 2.5 mile swim in the ocean,
right.
And then 112 mile bike ride, and then a full marathon.
Yeah.
It's like 3 different ways you can just die. And they were focusing on this guy that had a heart transplant and was competing in it. And first thing on my mind was like, that guy, like, shouldn't you, like, this is your second chance. Like, that's got to void the warranty for sure. You know what I mean? Like, if I was his doctor and I saw that, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
that's funny.
Take it easy. But the best part was the announcer at the end. He's like, you couldn't write a better ending to this story. And I'm like, that sounds like a challenge. First of all, a better ending to the story would be that the first guy didn't die in the first place, to give up his heart. But my sick mind was thinking, like, what if the guy that got the heart transplant, like, had a heart attack, like, in the last mile of the marathon?
No, like, he falls over and he's still not across
whatever.
the finish.
But no, he dies, but then he's a donor. And they give his lungs to another guy. And that guy...
Oh, that's a good loop. That'd be a great plot line.
Yeah, and so then a year later, that guy gets in the Ironman World Championship, in Hawaii, and then drowns in the first part of the race, which is the ocean swim. I was like, so don't say there's not a better ending to the story. But it's horrible.
That's crazy. So obviously you're doing a lot of work. What else? Is there anything you're working on right now that you're just grinding on that's interesting?
I've been doing honestly a lot of social food video, a lot of food recipe type video,
like the tasty videos where it's like
stuff like that,
ingredients and all that jazz.
And I'm like, I don't like the top down stop motion.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of that. It's like, so I shoot at two cameras. I'm the chef, so I'm not only am I inventing. So we have a lot of like prepared grocery food, like barbecue meats and things like that, lunch meats, and so our clients are looking for cool, creative ways that you can do that. And so I'm not only the filmmaker, but I'm writing it and I'm creating I'm the chef, and I'm doing all this stuff, in my cramped little kitchen, and that's been a lot. I love doing that. And
that's cool.
And one of the things, one of our clients, we're doing some road trip type stuff.
Yeah.
And I still love the GoPro. And I was sticking the GoPro to the side of this van that we had wrapped with the graphics for the food.
Right.
We're driving on the highway, and we were tag teaming, like, because I had a GoPro on the passenger side of my car sticking out the window, and I drive alongside the van, and then on the other side of the van, he had a GoPro stuck to that van pointing forward, so I'm getting two shots. We're piggybacking each other on the highway, and we did that for a while. Like, I'd pull up alongside him and go kind of dodge back and forth, and then go up, and then he'd speed up. After a couple miles, I'm like, God, this totally looks like road rage. Whoever's behind us is like, they're going to kill each other. And like, I don't know if it's the guy in the van that's mad or if it's the guy in the car. But that was weird. But one other thing I noticed, though, so I had my GoPro. I have the GoPro on my passenger side window sticking out. Yep. And I'm driving home and just getting random, like, cornfields going by and stuff, hot cars going by. And I got home and looked at the footage, which I obviously I didn't have a monitor for it. So I get home, I look at all the footage, and the funny thing is when you pass a car and your GoPro is going, two things happen. You pass them, there's two looks. The first look is the person looking over, and then realizing
it's a camera.
It's a camera because the GoPro's got the red light blinking. And then they look down again, and then the second look is way more pissed off. Like it just happens really quick, and it's really consistent. Yeah. Especially with men driving, they have a look on their face like, "Why are you filming me?"
Yeah. So they don't. So you didn't get any like people that were playful with it that would throw you a little smile,
no, they don't.
Kissy face.
They just don't know what's going on because it's one thing to have a dash cam. Because more and more people have those now. But when it's on the passenger side window looking straight sideways, it just is weird. But they all looked really either really concerned or just mad. I actually had to look it up too, as far as obviously I can't use their likeness,
right?
But I was curious. Another funny thing I Googled was like, what's the legality of shooting video of strangers in their cars?
Now you're on the voyeur watch list.
Yeah, but there's no expectation of privacy when you're in your car.
Really?
So yeah. Now again, for commercial purposes, you can't use their likeness.
Sure.
But you can film them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no expectation of privacy within your automobile.
Well, I guess that's the same with on like a sidewalk too, right? You can film anybody you want on the sidewalk.
Yeah. But I was curious, though, about the car, though, because, there was a part of me that was like, is that legal?
Which that's the part of you that says you're going to steal from the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a little
But in
worried.
this case, though, I didn't have to be paranoid that people were staring at me because they actually were staring. They were legit. I have it on camera. They were legitimately upset with me.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's the GoPro, it allows for a lot of really cool stuff. I've crashed a few from the top of drones.
Oh, have you?
They still work? Those things are
awesome. Now the bigger
man.
drones that I got a buddy in town that has a drone that'll carry a DSLR.
Yeah, and that's not as happy when they drop.
No, it would make me very uncomfortable. I don't know. What's your feeling as far as drones? I mean, did you? I know you still have. I have one. I never use it.
Sure,
but I mean, I know. Do you feel like it kind of the interest has peaked, and as far as like, and I know you can probably divide it up between like commercial and consumer.
I think
they're not buzzing around like I was expecting them to be.
I think what it boils down to is early on, a couple years ago, let's say for a corporate video, they would just geek out like crazy for an aerial shot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think that it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily gone away. I just think now it's expected.
Yeah.
Now they just expect. Now people just expect. Oh, if you're going to do this video, you're gonna get the aerial drone shot, right? It's more of an expectation than it is before. They never would have asked for it. Like, you can do that? Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that is so neat. What kind of gadget do you have? Now they're just like, you're getting the drone shot, right? So that's kind of what I've seen. But I think to me, it's all about purpose and motivation. Like, you don't always need an establishing aerial shot. Yeah. Sometimes you can get it with an establishing shot on a tripod.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there's other scenarios where it's like, absolutely, it's going to help the story and really sell it in to show the vastness or the bigness or the beauty of the landscape or whatever it might be. But there's definitely not every video should not have a drone shot.
Yeah. As far as like visual storytelling, I mean, I think that's still something that whether it's music or comedy, whatever it is, I think. You have it's like design and art, communication versus like personal expression.
Sure.
And I think when you're in the commercial realm, you want to do something different than what everyone else is doing.
Right.
But then there are also trends, and keep in mind that like just like in comedy, you have an audience out there that you have to move to action. Whether it's laughter or buying something, whatever it is, and they're not as savvy as you are, and so I think there's something to be said for keeping with trends up to a point, even though the creative part of you wants to be like no more drones or no more slider shots or no more.
Well, a trend is the balance because a trend becomes a cliche.
Yeah,
but at some point a cliche becomes good. You're like, it's a cliche because it works.
Because it works, yeah, and I think that's the thing that I think too as you get a little older in your career, you start not worrying. You don't use terms like sellout anymore because you're like, no, I'm getting paid. Like that's if you want to call it,
means.
yeah. So
I make a living doing it.
Yeah, I'm making a living, exactly. So I think you lose that. You don't have that fight as much anymore internally as far as like, oh, this isn't cool enough or this isn't. So
yeah, things come and go. I mean, speaking of coming and going, what's your next going, man? What are you excited about? Is it the comedy side of things?
Oh, I know something. Yeah, it's a little something. So I've always so many of my comedy friends everyone has podcasts now, and just with my video background, I've been toiling around. With we've all seen comedians in cars having coffee. We've seen a lot of that. So I love what James Corden's doing with karaoke in the car. If you guys remember, Ben Bailey did the Cash Cab years ago. That was a great thing. A lot of this in-car stuff really interests me, and because I had 2 GoPros, I've been toying around with some stuff like that. And I'm just trying some different concepts right now. But one of the ones, it's untitled, but one of the ones I'm thinking about is having other comedians in the car with me, and a couple audience members in the back seat, and we just drive around, and he or she, that comedian, just tries out new bits on that audience, and it just unscripted.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah,
because one of the some of the other ideas were I was just going to pick up a comedian, we're just going to drive around and just riff or talk about stuff. Yeah. But we kind of like the idea.
No, I like the audience. It would be cool if like it's almost like if on like a Friday night or the weekend, like part of the bit is can you get the audience? You know what I mean? Like this sort of funny thing. Like okay, like well we need an audience tonight. Let's see. Hey guys over there, where are you guys heading? Hey cool. Can we give you a lift? And we got just a few jokes we want to try out on you. We'd love to have you. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
I love this. Do it. You should do this.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm doing. It's interesting that the technical challenge. As always, is audio.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I actually found out that worked the best, believe it or not, are just wired inexpensive. They're not wired lavs.
Yeah.
Clipped
to the ceiling,
to the visor.
Yeah.
And just right into the GoPro.
Totally makes sense.
I was looking into some small shotgun mics and all that kind of stuff. That I'm like, well, this is. We don't need that because if it turns out the visor is so close.
Yeah, and cars are pretty quiet.
Yeah, relatively.
So you get decent proximity. Yeah, I can imagine that would be all right.
And so I tried a couple things. So that's one thing I'm looking at. But yeah, we're gonna try that and see how it goes.
That's awesome, man.
And then for Go Bananas, I've been doing more. We've been trying some different video promos.
Yeah.
Kind of borrowed a little bit from Saturday Night Live, how they do promos throughout the week for the weekend. So we film them on Thursday or Friday, and so it's the host and the headliner. Do something real quick, real funny. I run home and edit them right away, and we post them on Facebook.
That's awesome.
And they've been getting, they'll get 800 views, in an hour.
That's great. So are you using? So you said Facebook before you said YouTube. Is that your format of choice these days? Or?
Well, for Go Bananas, we put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we share the link.
Gotcha.
Through Twitter and Facebook.
Right. So the interaction's still happening in the social sphere.
It's in the social sphere,
but it's living as a comedic content on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then we've got
if you do this thing with this show idea you're talking about,
that
you would launch like a whole brand and kind of have it be its own thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
It'll have its own thing.
Awesome.
And I just think that it's silly of me not to utilize video.
Yeah. Do it.
When no one else is really doing that around here. So I'm anxious for that. And then we've got the Brouhaha is coming up in Cincinnati end of August.
Okay.
That's a huge 3-day beer comedy festival.
Yep.
And that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some cool, funny stuff for that. So I've got all these, funny comedian friends. We're still trying to figure out. Some of them want to do some cool sketch stuff.
Yeah.
We've been filming a lot. I've been filming a lot of live comedy shows, and so it's pretty cool to like utilize.
Well,
that.
You sound like you're definitely busy.
It's just busy, and it's way more diverse than it used to be. Yeah. I think, frankly, I was getting a little burned out, because I was a creative director, art director for years before I went into video full time. I was really towards the end there. I was starting to almost like second guess that decision. Because there's, yourself especially. I mean, there's so many talented filmmakers in town, and I always felt like I was catching up a little bit. I was kind of getting a little bummed out, too, with the technology curve. I just constantly having to – and it's like I'm an idea person, so kind of going back to more creative direction and copywriting and script writing. still doing video.
Yeah.
But for larger productions, probably from this point on, I think I'm going to be looking to partner with people. This is just it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's great. The thing I admire about you is you always have something going. You know, you got multiple things in the fire. You always seem to have a great creative outlet, and I think it's so important for people to realize that, you know, your job doesn't have to be everything. You need to, you know, sometimes it's nice to have that little sidekick to let some steam off. So actually, I just started a new one. So I just launched my DJ career.
Really?
Yeah.
You so seem like a DJ.
I'm a musician at heart, right? So I grew up playing guitar and drums and all that sort of stuff. Studied sound recording in college. Napster ruined that for everyone except for like the 0.2%, i.e. Bart and Adam and the gang at Sound Images. So music for me, it's tough to play live music. You have to have like a group effort, and people have to show up on time, and they have to come prepared, and there's a lot going on. But I realized as a DJ, you don't have anyone else to rely on. Yeah. It's just you. And I love music, and I love multi-genres. And so I started kind of toying with this app that's out there called Pacemaker, and it's actually really, really smart, intuitive app. And I don't claim to be like an old school DJ. I cannot use turntables. I can't do that stuff. But beat matching and kind of being crafty with how to mix songs, I really have come to enjoy. So it's just a lot of fun to sit on the couch and kind of put on the headphones and think like, you know, what can I mash up, you know? So actually, I got my first gig. It's coming up. Yeah, this weekend in my neighborhood. We have a big party for the neighbor JP, who he's been on the show before. And he's a big film enthusiast. He loves watching movies. And JP, like 3 years ago, he almost died from like a brain aneurysm.
Oh, wow.
And so every year we have a party to celebrate that JP didn't die. So it's like a JP didn't die party. And it gets a pretty good turnout. It gets a pretty good turnout. There's a lot of people that come out. And so anyway, we started, you know, I said, hey, you want me to spin some records, spin some music on this thing? And I started showing him this app, and kind of, you know, and he starts getting excited. And so we start going, so currently in my set list, I'm going to mash up. We're going to start with, this is just to give you an idea of the kind of DJ I am. And so I've deemed myself DJ Done Did It. Because I want people to be like, oh, he done did it, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. So I got a moniker and everything. I got a call out. I've got like a DJ drop call out that I can put it. But it's the set list so far is I'm going to go from Thunderstruck, the opener, mix into Beat It. Then I'm going to transition to modern with Drake's Hotline Bling, which is going to mash right up to Take Me Home Tonight, Eddie Money, which is going to drop to Panda, the trap music hip hop classic. Then that's going to mix into Jesse's Girl, down to Beyonce's 7-Eleven, and then come full circle to Going Back to Cali.
Wow.
So I'm like, there's no rules for me. Like even the younger audience, like they're going to hear something like, you know, Beyonce's 7-Eleven, but they've maybe never heard Jesse's Girl. Yeah. But I'm going to bring it to them. I'm going to bring them the deal. So anyway, like it's just kind of fun, and so it's kind of like a little side hustle. But I even got this guy on the internet. He's like, he does really cool hand type and whatever. So I reached out to him. We're kind of collaborating on some stuff. He's going to do my official mark.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. That is awesome.
His name's Vova. He's from Russia. He's online. He's on Behance. He goes, check his stuff out. It's awesome. It's on my Twitter. It's type. Let's see here. Let me. I don't want to mess this up because I want to make sure I shout out to him. He's a cool dude. Typemate. TYPEMATE.pro. He's Typemate on Instagram, the whole deal. This guy is awesome. He's got stuff that looks like it was straight out of like 1980s, like hip hop. Like it's rad. So
I thought you were going to say Compton for sure, right there.
Yeah, no, definitely not Compton, but he's a cool dude. So check out his work.
So all the beats of that whole set list, is it pretty seamless?
It's going to be seamless. It's absolutely
that's the part
seamless. Yeah, it's all beat matched, and so basically I've been like curating the set list so I know it works, and like it's fun. And so I don't know like how far this could. I could be one and done. This could be like I could launch my career and end it this weekend.
So right now it's Done Did It.
It's Done Did It.
You might be changing the name to DJ One and Done.
That's right. It could be DJ One and Done. I don't know, but I've got an offer already to potentially spend a night here at a club in Cincinnati.
That's awesome.
So
Plus, you got to do some mic work too, don't you?
Yeah.
Which I mean, you're not having a problem
well,
with that.
yeah, I'm not gonna, but it's more about the music. So here's my my drop. I got a custom drop from the neighbor JP. He helped me with it. So here's my drop. So normally towards the beginning of the set, you throw your drop in to let everybody know who your DJ is. Here's mine. Let's see what you think about this. First time ever on air. I got sound effects. It's great. I got all sorts of. Oh my god! Oh, it's gonna be great. I don't ever not do it all. I go all in.
Yeah.
So my wife thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
She thought I was crazy when we were going to start this podcast 2 years ago, and now I'm like, honey, we've got over 25,000 listeners. Oh, that's incredible. And now then she was kind of like, oh, okay, you're gonna do a DJ thing, so we'll see what happens.
That's so awesome. You gotta have some kind of.
I always guys like us. We always gotta have side projects. If you're a listener of this show, my guess is that you have a side project. You're doing something crazy. Matter of fact, we'd love to hear what your crazy side project is. Hit us up as always on Twitter, Instagram at FTB Podcast. Email us. Go to ftbpodcast.com and join the Slack group. Are you on the Slack group? I need to get you on the Slack group,
No, but
man.
actually, I just started using Slack because there's me and a couple other comedians. We throw around some ideas.
Yeah,
started using that. It's pretty cool.
Shoot me your email. I'll get you on the group. We've got over 60 filmmakers in a Slack group from all over the country, and people are sharing reels. And if somebody has problem with After Effects, you used to go on the Slack group, and it's pretty cool, man. It's a neat little community.
I should just post my unfinished documentary on there and just see if somebody wants to finish it for me.
Yes.
Still 4.5 years later, I'm like,
yes, you probably could. Yeah. So, but that's always fun, and that's what's cool about this show is connecting with others. And man, it's been great to catch up with you again.
Thanks for having me back.
I'm glad you were
good time.
Were able to come on. Alex is he's filming on a movie.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's been the next several weeks are just absolutely crazy. He's booked. I think he's down in Louisville.
Oh wow!
He's running B camera for a Hollywood film. It's I think they have at least a $10 million budget. It's a real film.
Yeah.
So he couldn't disclose who it was and that sort of thing, but evidently the DP called him and was super impressed, and so he's hustling, man.
That's cool,
he's
man.
grinding.
You're gonna lose him soon.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the seat's always open. It seems to fit you pretty well there, buddy.
Oh man, I know. Like I said, I'm still my C100.
Oh,
I'm in love with that thing.
Yeah, man.
I'm not anti 4K. I'm just I just love it, man. It's so small and I just love the look of it.
It just works.
It just works, yeah.
So, well, I'll tell you one of the cool things when it comes to gear is we got a big announcement today.
What's that?
Well, the listeners heard at the beginning.
You guys giving your guests prizes?
Yeah. So last week we gave away to one of our listeners a $400 DSLR bag from Timba Bags.
Oh wow!
And so we actually announced that just this week, and we gave that to. Let me just read that on air, just because we tweeted it out. But the winner of the Timba bag went to Drew Gaynor. Drew Gaynor. He says, "I'm so excited for the bag. Thanks so much." So he got the bag. But this week we are brought to you, as you heard at the beginning of the show, by Benro USA. They make tripods, heads, that sort of thing, and they are going to be giving away a tripod and head package. So really awesome, high-end, quality tripod with head. So we will be posting that on Twitter. You'll see the pictures, the whole deal. As always, to enter to win, you got to do 3 things. 1, shout out on Twitter to Benro USA, at Benro USA. Shout out to at FDB Podcast and hashtag FDB giveaway. That'll be for the entire month of August. And I think that's about it, man. You got anything else that you want the people to know about your upcoming gigs or where they can find out?
No, that's pretty much. No, I'll get that comedian's video blog. Is that going to be a vlog or a series? What should I call it? I don't even know what to call it.
Is vlog a thing still?
I don't even think it's a thing
anymore. That was like a...
So you got podcasts, you got written blogs, and then video. Or is it just
it's just a channel. It's your channel.
It's just
a YouTube channel,
right?
It's a show.
Yeah.
You launch a show on YouTube and you just do it.
I'm going to launch a show.
Launch the show, man.
God, I can't say. I don't know how you feel about yourself being on camera, though. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You just get to... a point, especially when you do stuff like this, that you just commit to the fact that you're, totally whoring yourself out.
Yeah.
And you just get over it, So yeah, first couple times we did the podcast, it was like, this is kind of weird. And then it just becomes
we all meet some women.
Yeah. It becomes second nature. You know what I mean? So, well, be careful when you're making the show. All those cameras, you driving around. We don't want people to get the wrong impression.
No. They'll probably already have that. I'm just weird.
Well, that's great. Well, I'll tell you what we would love to be your audience on the show. So when you record the show,
you and Alex, that is a great idea.
We would love to be in the car to hear this material.
That would be so funny too. The back seat, and there's no floorboard.
Maybe what could be fun is we could maybe that is.
Can we stream a live podcast?
Yes,
at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. Like somehow, in tandem, your show goes live, we podcast the show because we're on there. Like the whole thing.
What a great idea! We got to do
this. This is great.
All right.
Can we drink?
Filmmakers.
Can we drink while you're driving?
I was about to say, this is a really good question. So it's
Is that legal? Is that legal?
Filmmakers drinking bourbon with comedians in cars drinking bourbon or something.
Filmmakers drinking bourbon while comedians in cars drive.
That's perfect. Oh, this is going to be great. I'm sure some of it's legal. I mean, there's like... Well, first of all, you can be somebody already.
You can ride shotgun with a roadie?
No, I don't think it can't be open. You can be drunk. I think you just can't. I don't think you can do open container.
Yeah, because a designated driver.
Yeah, and there's another comedian.
So you can't sit in the back seat and drink.
I don't think so.
No, you can't have an open container in the car. That's a problem.
I don't think so. That's a problem.
Whether you drink it or not, it doesn't matter.
But you guys just get hammered and then get in the car and we just drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could happen. Yeah, we could do that.
Something like that. So, we got to do that.
Good times. Great. Oh, man, it's so much fun to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
And guys, thanks for listening. We really appreciate you as always. If you have a chance and you haven't already, go to iTunes, search Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon. We love a 5-star rating, a great review. Hell, we would even love it if you just talk bad about us if that's how you really feel. We find those entertaining as well. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. This podcast was recorded live at Sound Images Studio. Find out more at soundimages.com.